Welcome to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to getting seriously smart fast. Got a crucial interview looming, feeling like you need to level up your preparation
Yeah.
right now?
Yeah, we hear you.
Consider this your personal strategy session,
Yeah.
really, designed to give you that edge and, well, the confidence you need.
Exactly. Today, we're diving deep into let's call it the art and science of interview success. And we're drawing on the pretty extensive experience of White Bay Recruitment.
Right, White Bay.
They've compiled just a wealth of knowledge, from quick tips all the way to in-depth guides. And our mission today is really to pull out the most potent insights, the stuff that can, genuinely transform your interview performance.
And what I find interesting about White Bay is their insider perspective. Their team is actually made up of people who've worked in various industries.
Yeah, ex-industry pros.
And they've actually been on the hiring side themselves. So they get the process from both angles, which, means their advice isn't just theory. It's properly grounded in real world experience.
Yeah.
Okay, so Whitebay says step one is all about preparation. Makes sense? But beyond just, knowing the basics, what's the real power of doing that thorough prep?
Well, the core benefit, I think, of really deep preparation isn't just about having the right answers ready. It's more about cultivating this genuine sense of confidence. When you've meticulously researched and, rehearsed, that assurance just shines through. And this groundwork, it covers several key areas, starting with, well, the practical stuff.
Right, the logistics. White Bay really emphasizes nailing those. It's not just knowing the address, is it? It's having the route mapped out, understanding the transport, parking, and crucially, allowing plenty of travel time.
Oh, absolutely. You definitely don't want to start your interview day all stressed out because you're running late or can't find parking.
Exactly. And it's not just about the building itself, it's the people too. Knowing your interviewer's correct title, and importantly, how to pronounce their name, that shows real attention to detail, doesn't it?
It really does. It signals you've actually taken the time, put in the effort to do your homework. It's a small thing, but it counts.
Yeah.
Then, of course, there's the company itself. White Bay stresses going beyond just a quick glance at their website.
Like really digging in?
Yeah, think about their history, their current financial position, maybe look for recent reports, that sort of thing. Understand their core mission, the market they're in, who their main competitors are.
What's the latest news about them?
Exactly. And crucially, their products and services. Their website is a great starting point, sure, but you should look for deeper insights too.
And it's not just about researching them. White Bay also says turn the lens inward, right? Refresh your memory on specific achievements, maybe figures from your past roles.
Precisely. Be ready to talk about your experiences with concrete details. Don't be vague.
Okay, makes sense. Now, visually making that good first impression, what does White Bay recommend for interview attire?
Well, their advice is pretty rooted in professionalism. Generally, a clean, ironed, plain shirt or blouse paired with dark shoes, that's usually the safest bet.
So avoid casual wear, even if the company seems relaxed.
They specifically advise against it. Yeah, it's always, always better to start more formal. You can gauge the vibe once you're there. And it's smart to check with your recruitment contact, if you have one, about whether, say, a tie is customary.
Good point. You can always take a tie off, but you can't magic one up if you need it.
Exactly.
Okay, let's talk questions. White Bay highlights not just reviewing your resume and the job description, which seems obvious, but really internalizing the core competencies they're looking for.
Yes, this is key. You need to have specific, compelling examples ready. Examples that demonstrate your skills in action and show how they directly align with what that employer actually needs.
Got it. And they list some classic questions to prepare for.
They do. A solid foundation. Think about things like your career path so far, the kind of role you're looking for now. What specifically attracts you to this particular company, not just generic reasons?
Your 5-year goals?
Yep. Your aspirations, also your genuine interest in their products or services, your preferred management style, your key strengths, and areas for development framed constructively, obviously.
And teamwork, how you define it.
Right. These questions are really designed to uncover key facets of your professional self.
And it's crucial to remember, as White Bay points out, it's a two-way street, isn't it? A conversation, not an interrogation. Yeah. So you should definitely come armed with your own thoughtful questions.
Absolutely essential.
What kind of questions do they suggest? Ones that show you're really engaged.
They recommend questions that demonstrate genuine interest and, frankly, initiative. Like, you could ask why the position is available or ask for a more detailed picture of the day-to-day.
What about company culture?
Definitely ask about that. Ask about training, professional development opportunities, the company's future plans, maybe even what their best-selling products are and why.
Asking the interviewer what they like about working there is a good one too, right? Shows personal interest.
It is. And crucially, always ask about the timeline. What are the next steps in the hiring process? It shows you're serious and thinking ahead.
Okay, brilliant. So you've done all the prep. Now, step 2, according to White Bay, navigating the actual interview. What are the crucial things to keep front of mind once you're, in the room, virtual or otherwise?
Yeah, the interview itself, White Bay emphasizes that the interviewer is basically assessing several key things. Your strengths, obviously, but also areas where you might need to develop your overall attitude, how you fit in, your aptitude for the job.
Exactly. Your aptitude for the specific demands of the role, and underlying all that, your motivation. Why do you want this job? And they offer a really clear set of do's and don'ts. Okay, let's walk through some of those do's. Arriving on time, maybe even a few minutes early. That's table stakes, right?
Non-negotiable. Also, a warm greeting, a genuine thank you for their time, a firm handshake if it's in person, obviously. Wait to be invited to sit.
And posture. Sit upright. Look interested.
Definitely. They also mention being personable, showing those interpersonal skills. Be a good listener, but also a clear talker. Smile naturally, make eye contact.
Describe your accomplishments clearly, concisely.
Yes, with impact. And crucially, always act like you are determined to get the job. That genuine enthusiasm can really make a difference.
Yeah, I can see that. Showing you're really invested. Okay, what about the don'ts? What should you absolutely avoid?
Top of the list, leave your phone on silent, or better yet, off. Don't chew gum. And critically, don't lie or misrepresent anything. Just answer truthfully and to the point.
What about talking about past jobs?
Big one. Don't make negative remarks about past employers. It just reflects poorly on you. Also, don't bring up salary, holidays, bonuses unless they initiate that conversation.
And avoid just saying yes or no.
Right. Always explain your reasoning. Elaborate a bit. Give them something to work with.
Those are really practical tips for just basic interview etiquette. Good reminders. Now, step 3 from White Bay. Concluding the interview effectively. How do you stick the landing?
A strong finish is definitely crucial. If you are genuinely interested in the job, and hopefully you are, White Bay, suggests clearly stating that interest and asking about the next steps.
And if they offer you the job right there?
Well, if you're ready to accept, they say it's perfectly fine to do so, go for it. But if you need some time to think it over...
Which is also fine.
Totally fine. Just be polite, express your gratitude, and give them a specific date or time frame for when you'll give them your final decision. Don't leave it open-ended.
Okay, but what if an offer isn't made during the interview? Which is probably more common. How should you react then?
Yeah, White Bay advises not to get disheartened if there's no immediate offer or salary talk. The interviewer likely has a process, other candidates, approvals needed.
Right, standard procedure.
Exactly. And even if you feel the interview didn't go perfectly, try not to show any negativity or discouragement. Apparently, some interviewers might even seem a bit discouraging on purpose, just to test your reaction, your resilience.
Oh, interesting tactic.
Yeah. So stay positive, stay professional, and most importantly, always thank the interviewer sincerely for their time and consideration, and on a courteous note.
Good advice.
Yeah.
And there's one final piece for this stage, specifically for candidates working with White Bay.
Yes, they stress this. Contact your White Bay consultant immediately after the interview. Share your feedback, your thoughts, before the employer gives theirs. It just allows for a more coordinated follow-up.
Smart. Okay, let's pivot a bit to a core part of any interview. Answering the questions effectively. White Bay offers some really valuable insights here, looking beyond just the surface of the question.
Yeah, what's really key, they say, is understanding the underlying goal behind each question. Why are they asking this? For instance, when they ask about your most valuable skills for their organization.
They want to know if you get what they need.
Exactly. Do you understand their needs, and can you show how your abilities directly address them? White Bay suggests explicitly linking your skills to the role's requirements and backing it up with, concrete examples of how you've used those skills successfully before.
And when they ask about your understanding of the role itself and why you're interested, it's not just repeating the job description back at them, is it?
No, definitely not. White Bay points out they want to see your unique perspective. How do you see yourself contributing? How can you add value and help them hit their goals? It shows you've actually thought deeply about it.
Right. Makes sense. Similar vein, I suppose, when they ask why this specific organization.
Precisely. It's a test of your research, really,
Mm-hmm.
and whether your values, your aspirations kind of align with theirs. White Bay recommends highlighting specific things about the company, maybe a recent project, their company culture points, their strategy, and explaining how that resonates with your professional goals. Show you've done more than just read the About Us page.
Okay. Time management always comes up. How do you prioritize tasks? What's the best way to tackle that one?
Well, White Bay suggests focusing on showcasing your decision-making process. Don't just say, I use a to-do list. Give a specific example where you had competing priorities and walk them through the steps you took to handle it effectively. That's much more impactful.
Right. Show, don't just tell.
Exactly. And when they ask what you enjoy most about your current or last role, that's your chance to highlight your passions, the areas where you really excel and find fulfillment. White Bay advises focusing on aspects that are likely relevant and transferable to the role you're actually interviewing for.
Okay, now for the tricky ones. What about the question, maybe the one people dread? What are some of the more frustrating aspects of your current role? How do you handle that without sounding negative?
Yeah, that's a classic. White Bay's advice is basically be honest, but strategic. You want to frame your answer positively if possible. Focus maybe on how you learned from those frustrations or how they motivated you to seek out a role with different challenges, like the one you're applying for now.
So avoid anything that sounds like a major complaint or suggests you wouldn't fit in here.
Exactly. Avoid anything that hints at a fundamental incompatibility. It's about showing you can handle challenges constructively.
And the other big one. Tell me about a time you made a mistake or failed. Nobody likes admitting failure.
No, but it's really about demonstrating self-awareness and, crucially, growth. White Bay emphasizes using a structure. Describe the situation briefly, explain your actions, talk about what you learned from it, and this is important how you've applied that learning since then.
Show that it led to improvement.
Precisely. They also mentioned showing commitment to learning when asked about skills you want to develop. Don't just name a skill. Explain why you want to develop it and how you see it benefiting your performance and potentially the organization.
Makes sense. And finally, what about disagreeing with management? Another potentially sensitive topic.
Yeah. Here, White Bay suggests using a specific, real example if possible. Illustrate how you'd articulate your different perspective calmly and constructively, maybe how you proposed alternative solutions but also remained open to their viewpoint. It's really about showing maturity and professional communication skills.
It seems understanding the why behind the question is half the battle.
It really is. It shifts your whole focus from just preparing rote answers to actually understanding what the interviewer is trying to figure out about you.
Okay, let's dig into behavioral questions now. These often feel a bit different because they're specifically about past actions. What's the core idea behind these, according to White Bay?
Right, behavioral questions. White Bay explains they're based on a pretty simple premise. Your past behavior in specific situations is generally the most reliable predictor of how you'll perform in similar situations in the future.
Makes sense. Past performance predicts future performance.
Kind of, yeah. And they recommend a really structured three-step approach to preparing for these types of questions.
Okay, what are those 3 steps?
First, you need to thoroughly review the key selection criteria. Usually these are right there in the job description. This tells you exactly what skills and qualities the employer values most for this role.
Got it. Step 1, know what they're looking for.
Step 2, for each of those key criteria, prepare specific examples from your past experience that actually demonstrate those skills in action. And White Bay strongly advocates using the STAR method here.
STAR. Situation, task, action, result.
Exactly. Situation, task, action, result. It's just a fantastic framework for structuring your answers clearly and providing compelling evidence.
That's step 3.
Practice. Practice articulating your STAR examples clearly and concisely. How you deliver the story is almost as important as the story itself. You need to sound confident and clear.
That STAR method does seem super useful. Keeps you focused, provides proof. White Bay also lists a bunch of example behavioral questions, right? Covering different areas.
Oh yeah, a comprehensive list. You might get questions probing your initiative, like times you suggested improvements or went the extra mile, problem-solving questions, tackling complex issues, maybe preventative measures you took.
Leadership skills, too.
Definitely. Delegating tasks, coaching team members, questions about your decision-making process, how you analyze things and make choices, teamwork questions, joining new teams, supporting colleagues.
Project management.
Yep, from planning stages right through to overcoming obstacles. Analytical skills, how you handle complex data. Time management is a big one, handling conflicting priorities, tight deadlines.
Building rapport, handling difficult people.
Absolutely. Your ability to learn quickly, adapt to new skills, even negotiation skills might come up, is really a broad spectrum, all designed to build a detailed picture of your actual capabilities based on past actions.
It's a good prompt to really think back through your experiences and map them to these kinds of competencies. Okay, shifting gears slightly, video interviews. They're so common now, especially for white-collar roles, as White Bay puts it. What specific technical points do they highlight?
Yeah, this is vital now. White Bay Notes video interviews are pretty much standard practice, often as that first screening step.
Yeah.
And while, all the general interview advice we've discussed still applies.
There are extra technical hurdles.
Exactly. There are crucial technical preparations you absolutely need to make.
That you has. What should people check?
Okay, firstly, make sure you've downloaded and properly installed any software or plugins needed for their platform, Zoom, Teams, whatever it is, well in advance. Don't wait till 5 minutes before.
Good advice. Test everything.
Absolutely, non-negotiable. Thoroughly test your microphone and your camera. Confirm they're working correctly before the scheduled time. Nothing worse than technical glitches at the start.
What about the background?
They strongly recommend selecting a clean, uncluttered background. Keep it professional. Minimize distractions for them and for you.
Headsets. AirPods. Are they okay?
They say headsets or AirPods are acceptable if the audio quality is excellent. Test it. But they strongly, strongly advise using a laptop or a desktop computer.
Not your phone.
Preferably not. Laptops or PCs offer more stability, a better camera angle usually, and just look more professional than holding a phone.
Okay. And what about appearance on camera? Dress code.
Similar advice to in-person, really. Smart casual is generally suggested. They do mention avoiding really busy patterns or super bright colors as they can be distracting on camera. Stick more muted tones.
And the phone again.
Yes. Just like an in-person interview, silence your mobile phone completely. Turn off notifications on your computer too. Prevent any interruptions.
Those are really solid, actionable tips for the tech side of things. Definitely easy to overlook some of those.
For sure.
Okay, so to kind of wrap up our deep dive here, drawing on all this great expertise from White Bay Recruitment, we've really covered the essential stages for interview success, haven't we?
I think so. We hit the critical importance of that thorough preparation piece.
How to actually conduct yourself effectively during the interview, the do's and don'ts.
Strategies for concluding professionally, sticking that landing.
Mastering both traditional and those behavioral interview questions, understanding the why behind them.
And finally, those key technical bits you need to nail for virtual interviews.
And it's worth saying again, isn't it? This advice comes from pros who've actually been on both sides of the table. That dual perspective is really valuable.
It really is. It's practical, grounded advice from people who understand the hiring game inside and out.
Absolutely. So if listeners want to dig even deeper, explore these topics further, and get even more tips from White Bay Recruitment, where should they head?
Yeah, we definitely encourage you to visit their website. If you happen to be in Australia, you'll want to go to whitebay.com.au.
And for North America?
For North America, it's whitebay.ca. Once you're on their site, just look for their dedicated interview preparation page.
Okay, interview preparation. Cool.
You'll find just a wealth of additional insights, tools, checklists, lots of stuff to help you really excel.
Fantastic. Good resource.
Okay.
So, as you, our listener, contemplate your next interview, here's something to think about. What is the single most impactful piece of preparation we've talked about today that you can actually implement immediately, right now, to significantly boost your chances next time?
Yeah, pick one thing.
Make that your priority. Start there. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.